Hello, chat. Hello. Do you hear me? Hello? What's going on? Hello. Hey. Angel's Kiss, thank you for the tier 1 for 21 months. Teresita, hello. Thank you for the tier 1 for 43 months. Appreciate that. Thank you.
DocWizard.
We just chilling. What up, the Bix? How are ya? Long time no see. Hello, Samantha. Hello, Judd Slapshy. Hello, what up, Katie with 2 E's? Hello, Jet. I put it in Discord. Prison, version 2.0. We've been here before. We've done this. This time a little different. Yo, don't be driving home even talking in chat, alright? Please not longer than 30 days. Well, I spent longer than 30 days in prison the first time. I think I spent... How long was it? So I stayed there extra. So I went 33 days the first time. And then... And I was awake almost nearly every day for a long period of time. Doesn't matter if anyone else was there. I didn't give a shit. Like, I was with guards. I was chilling at times. If there were guards there. But in the morning, whatever. Yeah, it was 33 days the first time because I got the extra charge for murdering Axel. So that everyone else could get let out. That was Marty, TJ, Yeager. Who else was that? Forehead? Maybe. At least I'm not alone in there. I haven't seen anyone yet. I was awake for about 5 hours yesterday. Maybe 5 hours. I don't know. I was playing PoE on the side and I had the volume turned down on PoE. So I haven't seen anyone since the first day. So I literally... TJ doesn't have friends in Purgatory right now. We're chilling, man. We're chilling. Purgatory party? Yeah, maybe. At least there was like a end in sight in the prison. How's the throat? Okay, actually, hold up. I can show you this. I sent this to Connor the other day. Hold on. Let me find it. Yeah, let me bring this up. Open link. So let me go main desktop. Let me make sure my camera is on, bruh. You're totally gonna see me lounging if I do that. My room's a mess, but whatever. Actually, no, we're good. This is what I sent to Connor the other day. So you asked about my throat and how that was feeling, right? So I track my sleep, by the way, right? So I want to see like if I snore or whatever, what time I go to bed, like when I wake up, right? So night before all this happened, like, you know, no snoring, no coughing, whatever. After the night that I did the being sick and like forcing myself to cough, yeah, this is all coughing, by the way. Like during night, so 4.7 coughs per hour. So that was night before versus what happened afterwards. So I actually did some damage to myself kind of doing that. So yeah, you can see like while I'm asleep, I'm literally just like wrecking. I wrecked my voice next day. So when you saw, for example, TJ that was just chilling by a tree, and he was like dead, that it was actually me IRL that was physically just I couldn't do it anymore because I killed my voice doing it. So yeah, I was like, nah, I can't continue like the coughing thing right now. So anyway, yeah. I sent it to Connor. I was like, here you go, buddy. We're committed to it. At least we're doing the bit. Oh man. You know the one thing about like this kind of org versus another one or whatever that has been done, even though it's kind of like it's like an RP war. Actually, hold on, let me back up with this even more. So I had a conversation with someone the other day, and we were talking about like 4.0, like the server, say a different RP, and some people just not like being interested in it anymore. And I was like, you know what? I've been through RP since like 2015, 2016 in GTA, right? This is kind of when I started in doing it. Yo, Heavy Metal Kid, thank you for 17 months. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Much hearts back to you as well. Some hearts up in chat. Thank you, thank you. And I was like, okay, you know, I've been through like the ups and downs of it, you know? This person I was talking to was kind of someone that came in, had a really good experience. Well, had a bad experience to start, had a really good experience, and then tapered off a little bit. And I was like, hey, you know what made it fun? And you're going to have times that are down times. You're going to have times that are up times. For example, you know, I had a really good group of people that the first public server I ever started on in 2016, 2015. Still friends with them, still have conversations. We still have like our own Discord and stuff like that we chill in. Not all of them are on no, I don't think any of them are on NoPixel, honestly. Bunch of them are on different servers, and we still just like, you know, have conversations back and forth with everyone. It was a super good group, but at the same time there was no like gangs, right? It was 24 people on a server or something like that, maybe 32. I don't remember how many it was. It was two servers. It split between two servers. And so I was like, it didn't matter like who was on. If there were 4 cops on, 5 cops on, whatever, we didn't have like a set group or gang that we RP'd with. We were just together because that's all we had. We only had 30 something people. We didn't have houses. We didn't have mechanics. Our mechanic to rob a vault was go up to the vault, hit E, and there was like an actual OOC message there that said, hey, OOC, by the way, make sure that you're RPing breaking into this door, right? Like there's actually like almost like a scene pop-up. It's like, yeah, make sure you RP breaking into this. And then when you got down to the actual vault, it was once again hit E, make sure that you're RPing, like your character's RPing that you take this out, right? And so growing up from like that era and knowing what that was to an era that has so many different like mechanics in it, and I will say like going into, for example, this arc, right? Because I've had on TJ like $6,700 on him. I've not had any need for money. I have not had any need for anything, truthfully. Literally $6,700, and the only thing I've done with that is buy journals, right? I haven't had the need to go grind anything. You can give me, well, me, or you can give everyone in this arc basically a paper bag, and we'll just make our own entire fucking thing out of it, honestly. So that's what I've enjoyed with it. You know, I literally have not left the lay house, like, at all. Truthfully, a few times here and there. Like, I have ran, keep in mind, I run on TJ. I don't get TP'd unless Z's on. I have ran from the lay house down to Humane Labs. The other day, I ran from the lay house to the fun house. So if you guys haven't figured out, TJ wrote the book. The Plague Bear's Gift. I called it The Cure. So this was one of the works that we did with this. And basically, the entirety of it was to tell a story. It didn't have to be true to real facts. He put in facts in this with some truths of what was happening around things. And then it also gave a possible conclusion to things as to where things could go. And so it's like, all right, fuck it. You know, I knew this was kind of something that was somewhat controversial a little bit at this point because, yeah, I'm not coughing, by the way, for you, chat. Sorry. I'll save the coughing if someone actually appears here, but I'm, for my own purposes, saving my voice so you won't see me coughing as TJ on stream. Just letting that out there right now. I'm not doing that for you all. So this is, like I said, this is basically a yap stream at this point. So anyway, so we wrote this book, right? Connor said that he read it to people, so I don't know if you have seen it. I could go ahead and read it. If you haven't read it, I'm not going to read it in a different voice by any means. I'm not Connor. I'm not some person that's going to do this, but he pointed me to the part in his VOD where he's like, yeah, I started reading this in the Pestilence twice. I'm like, you motherfucker. But he didn't finish it. So I don't know if you've actually seen the end of it. But anyway, so this was kind of the warning with it. If you choose to believe it or not, that is yours to decide. This is not a warning, nor a lesson, just a truth wrapped in a story. People will always seek solutions. We chase comfort, stability, the easy answer to a complicated problem. But rarely do we ask what lurks beneath the offer. We are told what we need, and we take it without question, without hesitation, without ever considering who truly benefits when we do. So this point, this paragraph was kind of more towards like the whole thing with Tripos, Alice, Shang, etc. This is what this was geared towards, right? The truth wrapped in a story. This was just a way to get away from saying Pestilence as a person. So I made this doctor's name out of it, Dr. Morand, and that was basically Pestilence at this, right? So I've replaced their names for an actual purpose for the story. It is not just a cure, it's a contract, a job, a promise, a deal. So all this is referring to Pestilence and Norman. We surrender our choices in exchange for relief, blind to the consequences that patience and caution might have relieved. To trust without question, to follow without thought, is the greatest weakness humanity has ever known. Once again, this is through kidnapping the doctor. Not all will care. Some will embrace the flames, welcoming ruin because it was the easiest path to do. But you don't have to. Watch closely. Ask why. Decide for yourself, because if you don't, someone else will. And when they do, it won't be for your sake. I think I have preached this many, many times on TJ at this point. It is take control of your life. Don't have someone make a decision for you. Don't be someone else's puppet, pawn, whatever the fuck you want to call with it. Make your own choice, right? Live by you. Do by you. Be you. Don't let someone else dictate what you do, right? So that's the entire premise of this. This is why all this exists. So if you've seen streams, if you've seen him talk about it, this was the entire purpose of this first pretext. So again to the actual story. So we titled The Plague Bear's Gift. No one knew where sickness started, but first signs were subtle. There's a lingering cough at first. By the time people noticed, it was too late. Hospitals filled overnight and camps popped up to contain it. Patients arrived with skin paling and unnatural white. Their veins darkened like blackened rivers beneath the surface. Fevers burned high enough to cause hallucinations, and their bodies rejected water, forcing them into a spiral of dehydration and agony. Some simply stopped breathing in their sleep. Others, racked by fevered delirium, clawed at their own flesh as if something inside of them was trying to escape. And I spelled something wrong. Rip. And then he came. The doctor. The scientist. His savior, he claimed. Dr. Morand. A name spoken in whispers and prayers. He was a man of quiet confidence, draped in immaculate white, untouched by chaos surrounding him. He had seen the disease before, he said. He understood it. More importantly, he had a cure. The first patient to take the serum was on the brink of death. Their body nearly lifeless. Within hours of receiving the injection, they sat upright, fully alert. By the next morning, they claimed to be feeling better than ever than they ever had in their entire life. The city hailed Morand as a miracle worker. Lines stretched around clinics where his cure was distributed freely. At first, the sick clawed their way to the front, desperate to be saved. Results were undeniable. Not only did they survive, but those who took the serum emerged even stronger, more resilient, unnervingly perfect. Their eyes glowed just a little too bright. Their movements were precise, too fluid. Their skin, unblemished, felt wrongly smooth. Some called it a divine intervention. Others whispered darker theories. Then came the first survivor autopsy. A doctor, curious about how Morand's miracle worked, dissected one of the deceased, someone who had survived the sickness, taken the cure, and later died in an accident. What they found was impossible. Organs that should have been shown decay were pristine, but unnaturally so. The heart was still beating. Chet, this, by the way, this is in reference to what had happened in the sewers, in dissecting the doctor while he was still alive. There's the truth wrapped in a story part to this. The blood was too thick. The cells somehow refusing to break down, as if death itself had been rewritten within them. Neurons flickered with activity long after the brain ceased functioning. Whatever this cure was, it didn't restore life. It replaced it. When confronted, Morand nearly smiled. Do you think any cure is without cost? He asked. No one had ever asked how he created the cure, and once again, I spelled cure wrong. How he understood, and understood's also spelled incorrectly, the disease so intimately. Or why, on his laboratory table, I said laboratory like Dexter. Dexter's laboratory. There lay a man, alive, conscious, but cut open. His organs carefully studied, his exposed lungs still rising and falling as if suffering meant nothing. Morand never denying the truth when asked outright. Of course, I made the disease, he admitted with a quiet chuckle. But tell me, if I created the problem and I also created the solution, doesn't that make me the most trustworthy person you know? As reference to his silver tongue. Would you trust the man who sold you both the poison and the antidote? Would you trust the cure when those who took it were no longer themselves? This is in reference to Shang, Brandon, and Fred. Would you take that chance? By the time the city fully embraced Dr. Morand's cure, it was already too late. The sickness had reached every corner, leaving people desperate for salvation. And Morand, calm, collected, and prepared, had been waiting for just that moment. The serum worked. That much was undeniable. He eradicated the disease within hours, reversing the worst symptoms in the dying. But those who received it, wasn't that they're cured. They changed. At first, it was subtle. Unnatural energy, heightened sense, the lack of pain. I probably could add in here the whole healing thing that Chang told TJ the other day. That there was a wound that healed immediately. They could push their bodies further than before. Endure temperatures that would have once burned or frozen them. They no longer felt fatigue the way others did. Then, reports came in. People stopped dreaming. They could no longer recall childhood memories with any clarity. Hint, hint, Isaac. Hint, hint, Isaac. Took away Isaac's memories as a kid when they were bound together, so Isaac forgot his childhood. Emotional responses dulled. Some even admitted that they felt disconnected from their own thoughts, as if something in them had been rewired. Anyone catch the other day when I was talking about the war in Sandy Shores and having people talk to Reed in the tapes? They called it the awakening. Dr. Moran dismissed concerns. He assured the public that adjustments were natural, that their bodies were simply adapting to the cure. But some weren't convinced. One journalist, named Elena Harrow, uncovered something terrifying. Anomalies in the blood work of those who received the serum. The cure didn't just remove the disease and implanted something new. A foreign protein, something synthetic, was now rewriting their biology, not just strengthening them, but subtly altering who they were. Chet, chill. There was a war in Sandy Shores. Actually, I didn't get to take place in it. It was kind of sad. But I stayed out of it. Honestly, that wasn't like my storyline. That wasn't, that was like the Shift 1 PD. And that was more Shift 2. So I was aware of it as it was happening, but I was not someone that was going to log on for it because it wasn't like, I wasn't a part of it, you know? Others followed. Scientists who questioned the long-term effects, doctors who refused to administer the serum, civilians who resisted. Some turned up days later, live, but different. They spoke in the same voices, but their words lacked weight. Their expressions never quite reaching their eyes, as if they were imitating the people they once were. And then, one night, the city's emergency broadcast system activated. Every screen flickered to life, showing Dr. Moran standing before a sea of those he had cured. A little V for Vendetta reference. His voice, calm as always, echoed through every street, every home. You feared the sickness. I gave you the cure. You feared death. And I granted you something greater than life. You understand now. I never intended to save you. I meant to perfect you. The following days were chaos. Those who resisted the cure, those still human, became targets. The awakened, as they called themselves, no longer saw them as equals. They spoke of a higher purpose, of the future Moran had given them. They did not rage, they did not attack mindlessly, they simply followed his command. Because the cure had never been about healing. It had been about control. That's it. Audiobooks when? You couldn't pay me enough to do those. So, when I was alluding to forward, or backwards rather, forward, again rather, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, yapping. So what I was alluding to was, when I've left the lighthouse, I've once again ran. I dropped one at the Fun House because of the Osvaldo and the clowns thing. That was one of the first ones. As I got there, literally was standing invisible as Osvaldo pulled up with whoever his girlfriend, whoever he was dating, that was being tackled and tased and cuffed by officers. And I sat literally on the lawn as a ghost and just watched it happening. And I was like, okay, yep, time to go on this one. So I then ran to BCSO, dropped one at the front desk there. I then ran from BCSO down to MRPD. Went from MRPD to the marshal's office, and from the marshal's office over to the block. This entire thing probably took me an hour and a half. Literally an hour and a half to do all this. Pain. But what I was referring to is that literally when people reference mechanics and things that are needed in game in order to continue RP, or that they've done the heist, or that they've done something else, ain't true. That's the one thing I've really appreciated with some of these arcs. The prison arc and Sanguine and 3.0, why it was entertaining to me is because I didn't need anything. I didn't need a mechanic to RP with the people I was with. This entire arc was very much up my alley too, because I didn't need a mechanic. I literally sat, well, I guess my only mechanic that I truly had was I just sat on the porch as a ghost. This is all I have, right? What's my number? This is all I got. 331. That's all I got. You see? And I wouldn't even need that. It's just for the immersion. It's giving a visual representation of the things that are happening around it. And then I really agree. Hunter and I were talking about it, and how, for example, a lot of the stuff that Z does is just straight MVP because it gives you a visual around it, right? And so the visual things that are happening and how you adjust to them. When a visual is happening, you understand what is happening to your character. And that is what Z has been able to provide to a lot of this story, is a lot of the visuals. I keep referencing that we're just the characters in a director's set, and he's a director with all the special effects and how we do these things, right? So giving a visual representation to the things that are happening has been one of the most, I would say, immersive parts to this as well, and a godsend for it to happen. So yeah, definitely it's been good. I have no idea if TJ will ever get out of here. Little different than Prison 1.0. He could be here forever. I have no idea, honestly. I have no idea if it will change, but yeah, don't say that, Doc. Pepe hands. No, I honest to God have zero idea. When I was mid conversation with Pestilence and Alice, I had no idea that he was going to be sent there. I anticipated that happening at some point. To think that it wasn't a telltale sign that at some point it was going to happen, of course it was going to happen. It was a matter of when. To think that it wasn't like writing on the wall since the beginning, you'd be crazy not to assume that, right? So that's why I tried to put a few things into motion, and honestly, I have no idea if any of them will actually come into motion. There's been a few metaguard conversations with people, and I have left them that, but it's also on them if they want to continue that. and they could fail. They could be successful. I have zero idea. Or they could decide that they don't even want to do it. So all those things are not dependent on me anymore. He's playing a waiting game that is just that, waiting. So when I said that I had zero indication that that conversation was going to lead to him going back there, I truly meant it. I was literally mid-sentence and got Thanos snapped out of thin fucking air. I was like, oh. Okay. I guess this is how it happens. I was like, huh. Huh. And next thing you know, TJ is literally in a cage. Did I anticipate Edgar being sent back? Oh, of course I did. I tried to ask him like 20 fucking times. And I tried to hint to him that it was going to happen. Like, dude, I just got sent back here. Do you not think for a fucking minute that it's not going to be under like discretion? And that it's not going to be monitored by any means? Are you fucking kidding me? And I literally asked him, are you sure? Are you ready? Do you want to do this? And so I DM Z. I'm like, Z, I guess we're going to try this. And he's like, oh, okay. So, it's like, all right, here we go. You know it's going to happen. Like, TJ knows, Norman knows about this. Like, he literally told Fred in a fucking conversation about the whole feather shit and how he knew it was happening and that he'd be waiting for him on the other side. And you don't think that Fred was going to tell TJ about that as well in that conversation? Are you dumb? Of course TJ knew that fucking Norman knew about it. You'd be dumb not to assume it. TJ literally watched Shang read the book in front of the lighthouse. And by the way, chat, just take for a second this thought. Who do you think actually told Z to text from Norman's phone while Ziggy was in Japan to Shang? Who do you think actually gave Z the text to send to Shang? So guess what? When Shang got the text message about Norman responding to the book, I wrote it for him! Dumbass! Z just logged on and used Norman's phone to do it. Of course they knew. I have been nerfing TJ this entire time for purpose of story. I've been letting this play out the entire time. Chat, you'd be dumb enough for me to think that I wouldn't have already done something on TJ. I have let this story just play out and just let others make decisions. Are you kidding me? In any thought, if you ever followed anything from TJ, that he would be the one sitting there idly? No. He would not. Like, I have literally sat and just let this play out. That has always been my thought with this. Let me pause so I don't get DMCA'd with the vid shit for VODs, you know? Let me change music real quick. I'll give like an ominous background or something. Sweet tones to Doc Mom. True. And message to Ziggy as well, brother. If you didn't think that it's already known that Pestilence and Norman are working together. You literally said it on Norman to TJ, you dummy. You literally said you're using his means to your ends. Hello? Ay, 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 ay. It's more of a Doc mold, all right? Yeah, I very much tried to be supporting with this. It's not my story to tell. It is use as much as you want with him, and I've been very transparent with the people involved. I said, hey, listen, TJ's not like some deity. He's not some god. He's not some mythology type person. He is a ghost, right? And I don't want to overstep any boundaries with this. Even when I've had people DMing me about involvement with things and stuff like that, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to answer. It is not my story to tell. This is their stuff with these things, and I respect this, for example, as Ziggy/Norman's like domain, and so I don't make any decisions of anything really perk related or death. And so when everyone kept saying, TJ, can you bring Edgar out? Like, you understand, TJ's not like some deity. He's not anything. You have to understand that, right? And so it's not be like, yeah, let me be that. Let me do that. No, I've been trying to like very much be there for what is needed with this. You know, DJ's story has been his story. I have presented a he's no taxi service. I mean, he kind of is a taxi service, actually. He is a little bit of a taxi service. He can get people in and out in a way, but he's not supposed to bring the dead back. You know, he's not supposed to bring people here that are trapped here. I didn't even think that the feathers were going to be like here for Edgar, right? I had no idea that the feathers were actually going to be a thing and actually planted around. That being said, when we first envisioned the feathers, you know, sorry to spoil some of the movie magic, but I did sit in here and go through different areas that they could be in and where we could place them in and how we got the whole altar thing to go through. And, you know, we ran through like a dry test of that, right? Sorry to kind of spoil the movie magic, but, you know, it was an option months ago because the feather storyline was completely kind of dead at some point. The whole him giving up the feathers and going forward with it, I had thought that plot was just done. So when we initially set it up back in like January-ish, we had to think of different ways of how to do this, right? And so it was a way, for example, when we said that the dead are the only ones that could touch the feathers, that was kind of like the TJ taxi service in a way, right? So, you know, sitting here and picking up the feathers, like, you weren't actually supposed to be able to do them. So, sorry, once again, movie magic is, I'm having them removed, and TJ's picking them up, right? So, yeah, keep that in mind. Like, these things were set up, and I didn't think that they were actually going to be here. And so, once he found them and he pointed them all out, I was like, well, fuck. Let's see where this goes. So, yeah. It's been a thing. That chat, I'm not coughing. Keeping several things secret for stuff. I have a bunch of things I've kept secret. There's a ton of stuff that I still have a secret that I just haven't said to really anyone, or I've metaguarded it. I have a ton of shit, but I don't know if that's ever going to come to light. TJ's still sick, yes. Actually, hold on. I do have something I can show you. I don't think anyone's actually seen this POV, but I recorded something the other day. Let me find it. Hold on. I gotta find it. Hold on. Peak TJ? You know. There are things. There are things. Huh. I've been actually going back, my recent documents. I had all of my year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 lore I was looking at the other day on TJ. I don't know why I was scrolling through things, but I was looking at old lore things. There we go. Alright. So this is after TJ is this sent back. And once again, not gonna lie, I was a little huh? Like I was not anticipating that happening. And so I was like, okay, let's see. There we go. So TJ, what you missed before this, and I ended up I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing this sooner. Hope let out TJ from the cage. Okay. And one of the first things that Hope does is looks at TJ's kind of like, you consider shackles to death, or like being like the leash that he's on, right? And so we point that out. So that's one thing you don't see with this. And so the next part to the conversation, and it was kind of funny that Alice and TJ has a very similar thought to this, is that if Hope could give or take away some of the disease, can Hope actually transfer some of it as well? So they both came to that same conclusion. And so Hope had a conversation with TJ. They were sitting here for a second, not like a conversation, but like, you know, TJ was kind of basically monologuing to Hope and said, hey, listen, I need you to be 100%. So if this is going to help you heal sooner, I'm happy to share that burden with you, right? If I can take some of that away so that you are able to heal faster, I will take that. It was my own fucking detriment, IRL, literally destroying myself in process of this. So Hope gets TJ sick, right? It was not a pestilence thing. Pestilence did not, well, I mean, indirectly, yes, because Hope is sick via pestilence, via Bobby. And so, but it was not applied directly to it. It was like a shared disease that was taken in response to it. So I don't know if it's a 50-50, if it's a half, if it's more, I don't know. However Z wants to do it. So the next thing you start noticing is that Hope's eyes start turning bluer as well. As it's happening, Hope starts walking in a certain direction. TJ says to Hope, is there something that you want me to see? Hope flies over here. I think that's what catches us up. Oh, yeah. So there's the four skeletons or skulls over here. 1, 2, and 3. So it goes over there and starts pecking at the one skull, and Hope does a /me, finds nothing here. Goes to this one, starts pecking at this skull, and then there is an eyeball in it, and like, okay, and then goes to that one, starts pecking at that one too. Hope stands next to him, and TJ kind of does, and I'm just my way of getting, I guess, prepared to do this as part of it. I was trying to set up OBS to capture it, so I delayed for a bit to finally get to the point where he is now eating a fucking eyeball. So he's not sure what this means. He has no idea what that means. There's fire coming from the sky as he ate the eyeball, which is basically to show him something, but he doesn't know what it is. So he's confused. You also see the eyes blue, by the way. So Hope looks at TJ's shackles, which we have RP'd, that he is basically kind of chained here as part of this. So that is if you caught on Edgar's perspective. I have /me, like TJ has visual shackles around him, etc. But yeah. Yeah, thank you, Junkai. I appreciate that. You make it's not just the three of us, man. It's much more than us. But thank you. I appreciate the comment with that. So also, by the way, TJ has no idea who sent him. Is it Norman? Is it Pestilence? Like, it doesn't make sense to him that Pestilence sent him back because he's not supposed to have any control over TJ with that. Because, as Pestilence puts it, you recoil into your own sanctuary, and this is Norman's and Death's sanctuary, and so why would he have control over here? Yeah. So TJ basically dejected at this point. Hey, you heal up, right? This is where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be for now. You? There's more people that need you. And you need to be 100% for it. That's it. Goes on for more. But yeah. That was the start of what had happened in there. Anyway. Is it possible for the fourth horseman to come into the fray yet? Well, technically the third hasn't even been truly revealed. I do have to actually pay attention to what the hell. Oh, all right. Well, never mind. No, I don't. Thanks, C. Appreciate that. I thought I had to pay attention to my actual HUD. I'm going to turn that back to black bar. Sorry for the immersion breaking stuff, but TJ's got a bird protection, you know? So here we are. So let's talk about the Edgar stuff for a hot minute. This guy starts going on these crazy theories about Lang and the ring and Lang being the ferryman and the one to get him out, and then he starts going on about how Richard and Dark are the two individuals that if there was someone that's going to find him, that they have all the will in the world to find him at the ends of the earth, basically, and it's going to be them in order to get it. And if they got word of it, they'd be there. So he starts going into that. And it was a little, I guess, telling. It was kind of slightly comical that it was a thing. So I'm like, all right, fine. I can understand your perspective on that. I can also understand the perspective on the ring that you had mentioned, the whole one ring to save them all type of deal. And so I was like, fine, okay. Chat, by the way, if you're ever wanting to know how bored I have been on this, there are 46 bones to the vertebrae that start from the tail to the top here that goes back to the neck. There are 12. No, there's 15 bones in the hand here. There are 11, but some of them are fractured on each side of the rib, and there's 3 on the front and 1 on the top. So it leads to either, depending how many of the fractures there are, either 100 or 102 bones that make up this skeleton. Just in case you want to know how bored I have been. Just to know. Yeah. Yes, I have counted them. Why is CJ at the bird skull? Do I have to do this? How long did that take to count? Not that long. Okay, take notice of this one. Chat, do you recall the map that I presented to you last time? Do you recall this? Advanced prison arc 100%. This is exactly what it is. Don't start talking to it like Edgar was. Listen, TJ hasn't lost his mind quite yet, and you could say that he's been through this before. He's been through solitary confinement. He has been through purgatory. He has been through loss of a lot of different people many different times, and he has been solo by himself a lot. And he's okay with that. Because at times, he kind of needs to be. It's like the recharging of TJ for this point, right? It's, you get exhausted being and trying to be something for everybody. And just like it was during the whole Lennon and Bundy and removing the club from a lot of the situation, he needed to focus on that. Are the black feathers still there? They are used up. So he is bound to recluse himself into situations or scenarios, and this might be something that he needs. Truthfully, he might just need to think about things and recharge who he is. Yo, what up, Naris? How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Hope you're doing good as well. Quality shares with Flop. Maybe, wait, is it this way? I think it's over this way. This is too far out. Maybe it's because both of them and Winston have been cops before and they've had to deal with... Okay, yep. And they've had to deal with prison and prisoners and different personalities a lot, and you develop a patience for that. But at the same time, you're like, dude, I need my space, man. I need my space. Wait, where was this one? Oh, here it is. The Yin and the Yang island map, correct. So, you know, if you take a look at it, by the way, I have counted this one as well. I've counted them to see if there's any difference in them. Well, look whose eyes are red. Okay. Who do you think that one represents? Let's take a look at it for a second. So, which one is TJ more inclined to sit by? Noxie or Hope? So, he sits more by Hope's side. He goes to the blue. Which has always been a confusing part to him, as in TJ for this. was the Noxie storyline, especially given the involvement with Andy, and how much Noxie had helped Andy. And he always felt that there was an inherent bias from Andy's side to it towards Noxie, because obviously helping with Richard. And that had been always stuck in the back of his mind, where he never had an answer to it. Why was, for example, Noxie firebombing TJ? Where helping Andy in her quest against Richard, and also is basically, if you look at the character traits, a very good character trait in comparison, right? And so they were helping, but they were like their own things. And so I always felt, okay, is it Noxie still part of the balance because maybe Richard is unnatural? Richard referring once again to the Chicken Man. And Noxie doesn't like that. Like, why is this happening in terms of that? Wouldn't that be Hope more so than Noxie? So I never really had an answer to that, and I never really could put that together quite yet. And so Andy referred a lot to Noxie, but never referred to Hope, right? So Andy would ask about Noxie, and so TJ had mainly worked with Hope's side to it. And so it became like this, why, right? I never really could wrap my finger around it. I don't know. And so he sits by this one just because he's somewhat, I guess, partial to Hope's side to things right now, instead of being on Noxie's area and the red ones, just because of the firebombing incident. But he still is curious more so as to Noxie's involvement with things, because it's always been associated Noxie with Norman and death, but it's always been said that they're their own entities. But why is that own entity getting ticked off when TJ kind of tries to sway people away from Norman? If you recall the whole firebombing thing, which is more like, there's probably nothing really to consider with it, but why is the alignment where they're usually seen together, right? Why does Norman hate Hope? Why is Norman okay with Noxie? Why, if that's the case, is Noxie with Andy, who is usually probably someone that would be more aligned on Hope's side? So you have to, I guess, think about this, and I've thought about way too much of it, and so I don't know. That one still just doesn't make sense to me quite yet. Andy Riz Noxie? Possibly. Can we also finally get to the point where Andy has been incorrect about Norman? Can we finally say that? Can we finally say that, please? And still, out of her respect, TJ has waited to do anything. Has waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and never got the conversation between the two of them. And had never made a decision because he promised Andy. Never did anything drastic about it. Sure, he got sassy. Sure, he pointed out inconsistencies. But he never actually took an action. And I think I revealed to you all the first time of the Metagard conversation of Andy and TJ, and it was about the ring and how he was going to use the birds to get down there and take the ring. And then it was proposed, because at the time Andy and CJ I thought were still in good terms, to try to negate CJ's deal in exchange for the ring. Edgar happens. Edgar gives Norman the ring. Ring is gone. I thought many times about going and stealing the ring, but I figured, you know what? I'll let this story play out. I'll see how it goes. Here we are. Now this ring is everyone's entire shindig with it. And if you haven't seen the ring again, I will bring it up. I will show you what it says. Give me a minute. Sure, most people have. Don't know if you can see this. Isaac's ring. Engraved. On the inside, you were the hope I found that kept me going. Isaac and Pandora. So, when the reference was made to TJ the other day about Isaac being bound to hope, there's two thoughts to that. Is it the ring? Or is it Hope the bird? He doesn't know, but this ring has become a thing enough that he would try to do something. Cute, I think. I don't know. Not sure which one it is, but you kind of put some stuff in thoughts, and those are the two options to look at. And believe me, when I have thought of doing this, when Norman is playing with it, don't think I haven't thought of just doing that. Because literally outside of prying it off dead fucking hands, there isn't a way that he's going to give that up. Literally, I have gotten to that entire thought process that's where I'm at. I do have one other thought with it. I have one other thought. I don't quite know what that is, but honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to get the opportunity to do something like that. I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you. Someone else might get it before he even does. Once again, he could be here forever. I have had zero indication that that will change anytime soon. Roll to see if you get it. That's kind of what I thought with it. Like if I did the is he successful and then you roll it off, that would be a thought. But then like, do you introduce a modifier to it from like Norman's side? Does he get like a +10 modifier? You know, he's got to roll like a 10 to get a 20. He just got to roll like a 20 to tie him. Believe me, I have thought all of that. My mind just keeps going with that shit. So yeah, if it is the end to it, cool. I would have hoped it would have been a little bit more than like a Thanos snap down here. So that's why I'm guessing that there's something else planned. Yeah. Does TJ still have the knife? Yes. He does. He does. Oh, someone asked about Uber delivery, by the way. This is the Uber Eats, by the way. This is if you guys recall the pizza, the dev pizza stuff from like 3.0, this is basically it. So if you know what this is a reference to, this is a reference to Lord of the Rings, which fucked me again because here is fucking Peppo in his Edgar Lord of the Rings loving ass that legitimately fuck me. There's the food from Lord of the Rings. TJ's not a meta character. No, he does not. He's not a meta character. Everything that TJ has found has been through conversation. Everything TJ has found has been natural. I have explicitly asked individuals not to run to meta conversations or give me meta conversations. I don't want that. I think it makes it unnatural and is a pain in the ass to deal with because I don't want to be seen like that on TJ. That is not who I want to be as a character. Have I shown Edgar? I'm sure he probably has it, to be honest. But I'm I'm not really supposed to be sharing them either. So I don't know if he has them, but yeah, I'm not supposed to share them. So I haven't even considered it. A meme of me countering Zing? Yeah, as long as it's not meta with it, that's perfectly fine. Go for it. But yeah, I don't like getting meta information or whatever and trying to act upon that or like develop a plan. It's unnatural because I want to enjoy and I want to log on to the server. I want to find out what is happening. I want to be there in the moment. I want to feel the emotion of the character. And as the character continues to develop with it, he becomes more invested into it. And so I think if we take all that information and compile it into one, we miss some of that emotion and delivery of it. And so that to me, just, I want it to be natural. Fish tonight. All right, let me take a look.
Am I bleeding? Oh.
This is so good.
Are you okay? Oh. Ooh, that's good. Intervention! Just a bite! You hold together, mate! Remember, boys! Fish are friends!
Am I bleeding?
This is so good.
Are you okay? Oh. Ooh, that's good. Intervention! Just a bite! You hold together, mate! Fish are friends!
Fish are friends, stuff. Bro. That is entirely true. That is entirely fucking true. Holy man. You have the fucking shark that smells blood in the water and goes straight through it. And you got the other ones like, no! No! Get away! Stop it! Oh, that's fucking hysterical. Oh, man. Ah. Shark bait scene, ship house negative. Oh my god, dude. Oh, bro. I can honestly. I've honestly tried extremely hard to kind of like be on the other side of the fence to a lot of these things. To the point where like some of the old TJ tendencies I've slipped into at times, but I have to go back and constantly remind myself that I'm playing TJ as like a now good character, right? Like I want to say lawfully good, neutral good, more so. Maybe even chaotic good. I don't even know how you put it. It's kind of like a mix between them, but instead of like the chaotic evil that he was, or maybe like I don't know, maybe like a lawful evil. He was kind of lawful evil. Old TJ never said sorry to Dundee. I know, bro. Those conversations, when I had these conversations with people, all these conversations have been about telling them the things that he never actually got to say to them that they probably should know. And what I mean by that is saying the things that not necessarily they want to hear, but they should hear. And it's like removing kind of the guilty conscience behind a lot of those. And when I say removing the guilty conscience, it's more so the sides like, hey, I probably should have told you this when I was alive, but I'm going to tell you now. It was more so like even Shang's thing. Hey, Roosevelt didn't need to die. She wasn't a threat. It was telling Shang like his connections to people and how he wasn't technically one of his connections. I know that hurts Shang, but it's something that he needed to know. So basically, he has left no stone unturned in terms of things that they probably should be sharing with individuals. And it's hurt, obviously, Shang and TJ's relationship, but I think part of TJ feels that he needs to do these things. That there isn't a purpose of lying to them anymore. There isn't a purpose of trying to deceive people. There isn't a purpose of trying to, like, just be out in the open. And so that has become a lot of it, where some of the distrust of individuals in TJ has grown. That as these things have happened, oh, this isn't the same TJ. Yeah. Because TJ of old probably would have said something to make himself look a little better, right? TJ of old wouldn't have told him the full truth. TJ of old wouldn't have cared. TJ of old was kind of a son of a bitch. But he at least wants to make sure now that if he goes again and he leaves, that he has said everything he needs to say to those people. And sometimes the truth hurts. And that's where he's at with it, is that he legitimately is telling the truth. I don't think Dundee can be repaired. Norman and Pass broke him. Nice seeing TJ saying sorry to Dundee. Yeah, I mean, that was a different conversation. I was talking to someone about kind of the Dundee interaction between things and how it was different, and how as the group grew larger, and I'm obviously a part of that problem on TJ's side to it, was how the more people that you introduced, the more voices that needed to be heard, and the more voices that had opinions, where you start to, how do I say this in a good way? You dilute the chaos between things. It gets spread out in a way. Have you ever heard like the phrase of like a company being agile and small, it's quick to move, versus a larger company that is bloated and has a ton of employees and they're like a slow moving ship? The more employees that you add, or the more people to a club, it's harder to change the directions of things, and more people have opinions and you get less done. And so it becomes more of a focus on money and club and everything else, instead of just making sure you're having fun. And I think there's a part of that was looked over, and like I said, I absolutely probably contributed to that on TJ for sure, because he did stand up to Dundee and probably watered him down a lot, and probably changed Barry's views on him a lot, and maybe that made it unfun over time, and maybe that changed the dynamic over time. So do I feel guilty about that? Yeah, absolutely I do. From an OOC perspective, did I change that group's dynamic to be less fun? And that's something I've considered. Just let him be him, you know? Anyway, how classic was Barry get arrested missing TJ again the last time he was up? This fucker. He goes, hey, you give me around in an hour? Yeah, I'll be around in an hour. I'm sitting there for 2 hours. Baz. Baz. And he takes a screenshot and sends it to me. He's like, yeah, we're gonna have to be delayed on this one. Maybe another time. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I even told him beforehand. I was like, hey, you might want to have this, like, a conversation first with this instead of like later, so that you're not drug into all like club stuff all day, and then your phone doesn't stop ringing, and that you have literally everything in the world on your plate again. And he goes, nah, I think I'll do it later tonight. I'm like, this fucking guy doesn't listen. And what do you know? It didn't happen. Didn't happen. I don't know if it's going to happen again. That might have been the last opportunity that they would have to speak again. And we'll never know. We shall never know. So, how y'all enjoying Prison Arc version 2.0? It is, it's lively in here, you know, it's real lively. The dead, you know, they're not talking to us quite yet, and we're not answering ourselves quite yet either. But you know, it's super lively in here. We got the birds. We got. Yeah, we got the birds. We got the birds. We got birds. We got birds. We got birds. Hey. We got birds. You got Isaac Bones. And you got actually Isaac Bones is Bones. Isaac's true last name obviously is Isaac Bones. Hey, crazy, right? We had half dead TJ and yeah, you had a actually fully dead Doc OC. Is there a scene that's happened in this arc that visually? Is there a scene that happens in this arc that just sticks with you visually? Visually. Yes. Yes, there is. The first Edgar situation with Sonya and Jay and everybody else. That one to me yeah, stuck out the most. Because not only was it everything coming together, not only did you see like the flames from the door, not only did you talk to Sonya before it happened and TJ hugged her, not only did you see Jay holding a gun to her, right? At first, he had no idea that it was going to be like deal time, right? Yep, Matt Colby. He had no idea it was deal time. Then he pops down, he's like, is the gun really necessary? Thinking it was just someone else that was going to go drop a body at the Delay House, not realizing it was, oh shit, it's deal time. So we're chilling. We're chilling. I was like, hey, violence ain't really. This is where it's going right now. This is kind of where it's going. So yeah, I was standing on the cliff. Hey, what up, Alex Bunny? Hey, how's it going? We were standing on the cliff. So imagine we're standing on a cliff here, right? I think we're just. Are we crossing? I think we're crossing arms, right? And immediately, all you hear is wee woo wee woo. All lights and sirens start blaring as you notice 20 cops coming over a hill, and you're like, ooh, ooh. And you're a ghost, by the way, right? I'm in ghost form. Okay, so set the scene even further. I'm chilling. I'm in ghost form, right? And he's standing on the cliff, and we're oh shit. There's 20 cops. And hey, this is quite the reintroduction to TJ and police. And Oshira calls over radio like, hey, if you see TJ Walker, whatever, like I saw that clip afterwards, yeah, let him go. And they're like, yeah, isn't he dead? And apparently the person that said it is another ADMC alt, which I had no idea. I guess it's Frags. So I had no idea as a thing. So that was interesting. And so they all pull up, and there's 20 cars. There's TJ standing here. And I'm like, yo, how do I play this right now? Because I've been kind of going on one-on-one conversations. I haven't really appeared in front of large groups as TJ, but this is about as large as a group you're gonna get. And you got all these fuckers that just pull up, and you got some of them just standing right next to you and like, okay. What do I do? Do I go invisible? Do I disappear? Do I just sit here? Do I try? Like, this is really kind of unnatural, even though the character is unnatural. What the fuck am I doing with this? So I'm just like, ooh, let me just go invisible, and I'm going to move that away. So that was a choice of whatever, right? Once again, I have taken this stance where I have let things just play out instead of really trying to interfere with it. I could have yelled, I could have screamed, I could have tried to pull out a knife and shank a motherfucker. I could have done all that shit. I was like, bruh, nah, good luck. You feel you did your whole thing. You signed your deal. You know, your fate's done, right? So enjoy. Good luck. And sorry this happened to you. Sorry this happened to you. So that's where we're at. Also, by the way, I have a theory and a thought. And this is kind of the first time I've shared it. Is purgatory itself. Why is purgatory itself a shadowy realm, foggy everything? Right? Why, if you look at purgatory, is it dark? Why is it skeletons? Why is it a cemetery? Why are there headstones? If death is truly a natural thing that occurs, these are not natural. By the way, that's kind of fucking creepy. That is actually fucking creepy. Look at the cross in his hoodie like that. The see-through parts of that, that's actually fucking creepy. Y'all see that? Bruh. I kind of like that. Do a tire swing? Yeah, we do. You know? Fuck it. Tire swing. Why not? Tires. We swinging on fucking tires right now. Oh, that's kind of sick. Incoming new art piece? Question mark? It's actually sick as fuck. But anyway, have you ever seen is it Sandman or is it Lucifer? Where there is a person that represents death. And I liken it to a scene where I think it's Sandman, maybe. Where death is played by a female character who goes and finds people that are about to die and walks up to them, greets them like a normal person, and says, hey, you know, how are you, etc. Holds their hand, whatever it is, and then it replays in front of them, and like this is their death, right? They're seeing their death because they are now with their soul type of deal, right? And it's a very kind of like good situation, scenario, like it's natural, right? Death is saying, hey, listen, sorry this happened, etc. Come with me, like we'll take care of you. Like the old guy who is, I think he's playing piano. Is he playing piano? He's playing like an instrument, and he's sitting in his wheelchair or whatever it is, and he's playing this song for death because he just wanted one last song before he goes, and death ends up taking him afterwards. And so I kind of look at that as a parallel and the what about isms and say, was it violent? Yeah. And so you look at from that side to it, why is technically why is purgatory displayed as this? This is very grim, this is very deathly in a way. This is like, you know, This is someone who enjoys death, right? This is someone who has built purgatory to be this way, that is representative of death and as almost like a torture to things. So could it be something else? Maybe. Is this naturally how it's supposed to occur? Is this part of the process? So yeah, that's a thing. Can I stop being dead? Thanks, bye. Nope. Like, you gotta consider those things too, right? Wait, hold on. Can I... Z, if you're in here, can I show this? I haven't looked at it yet. Is this like now, or is this happening before? Okay. Alright. So give me a sec. Z just sent me a DM with a quick video. And I'm gonna download it. I'll show you. I have not seen it. Oh, hold on. There you go. There you go. So this would be... Here's hope, right? Those are the video is like 3 months old. You see that? It's actually kind of crazy. Depending on how you look, it can be like a Noxie, it can be hope, it can be either one, right? And when I told you guys before, the whole pixel thing, right? This is just how rendering in a way works. If you haven't seen this description before, I will show you this again. It is last stream I had. There's a crazy way I think about it. So I just took a photo of on my screen, right? I know the people that have been here have seen this already. I'm going to show it to you, okay? If you have not. So here's the actual photo. Now, how many pixels are basically on your screen and how it appears to different people is different based upon resolution and how like zoomed in you are, right? So here, TJ kind of seems in a way somewhat whole. Further that you go, depends how rendering is, right? So you'll see he changes based upon how close and how far you are. To the point where if you get extremely up close, you start to see each individual kind of pixel side to this. So it's truly funky how all this works in a way, and like how your mind plays this illusion on it and how your mind puts these things together. So actually when Sincere first sent me the opacity model thing, he sent it to me and I was like, wait, is this right? Because to me it looked really soft. And then I went back and I was like, can you up this more? And then when I first used it, I was like, this is way too like much opacity. And so it all depended on how much you zoomed in and zoomed out and where you saw it, because you can go and it almost disappears, but if you look on your screen, it's almost full. And so it's really weird. But I didn't ask him to like modify it even further. It was already in the server. I was like, all right, we're good. It serves the purpose. I don't need it to be like perfect, you know? So, yeah. Z MVP 100%, yo. I said, you know, Z gives us a representation of things that we normally cannot see visually, for what is happening to your character, for your other people to understand what is happening, because a lot of people have a limited kind of thought as to what is happening in an RP setting when they can't see it and how to react to that. When they see a fucking amazing fire portal behind them appear, they're like, oh shit, I know how to react to that. But if you just see a text that says portal and they disappear, you're like, oh, okay, all right. But you get the visual behind these things, and it's like it adds that much more story to it. Once again, I will 100% back this. If you were here earlier, it's like we're just the actors, and he's a director with all the visual effects and special effects and all this stuff, and you know, keeps everything in check and making sure that what we do is specific to lore that has been established and how we kind of go around these things, and it's true like a storytelling aspect to it. And so I couldn't be, you know, happier to work with Z and everyone else with this. So it's actually been fucking mind-blowing, because I have not really had the ability to work with a whole lot of people that are invested into a story and will give just basically all different avenues. Like, yeah, we can do this. Let's create a reason to do that. And I think that's something that has been missing in the RP community for a super long time. Once again, not coughing in character right now because I absolutely destroyed my voice. So, anyway, that's where we're kind of at with things. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Unfortunately, I don't have too much more to give you. You know, it's Purgatory. It's Prison 2.0. It is, you know, DJ might have the 9s. I don't even know what to do or how it goes with it. He might be here forever. And, yeah. You know, we did 33 days in prison plus another how many days for breaking bail. So, my patience has no limits to these things. So we'll play it out. And if people need him to be there, he'll be there. But, yeah, until then, we listen to the cargo ships that come in and out because of the cargo horn. Was Saab making TJ jump? So this fucker Saab. If you guys didn't see the clip, Saab goes admin mode and goes right behind TJ, who is sitting in ghost mode on top of this, and whispers, "Hey, I'm not the only one who can scare people." I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, I jump scare people, but I didn't expect to get jump scared myself. I'm like, Saab, you fucking dick. And what I should have said, oh my God, it's Bass. You know, I should have just said it and blurted it out. But I was not in the state of mind to even think about that for a second. That was, my mind was not there. You know, hindsight's 2020 type of deal. And I was like, you know what? That would have been really cool if my mind at the time could have thought to say that and it wasn't after the fact. But yeah, I it would have been cool. Would have been cool. Any thoughts and or conclusions to the whole Pandora concept, Podsnap? Actually, yeah, somewhat. Give me a second. I want to get some water because I said the whole voice thing too. So let me grab water. I'll be right back. All right. Hey, don't go anywhere. And hold on. Let me know if anyone comes to say hi. Wait, that's not gonna happen. All right, all right. Oh, the peekaboo? Yeah. Hold on. I'll bring it up. Yo, panda. Wait, how does it? Huh? Pandaness, how does this work? Why does it say you resubscribe for 18 months at tier 1 and but you've been subbed for 16? Twitch? Hello? Why does it give me that? That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I Yo, nice one, Twitch. Yeah, it does say 16. Twitch is drunk. I'm like, yo, wait, what? Yeah, it's 16 in a row, but it still says resubscribe for 18 months. Oh, they've been 16 in a row? Okay, so total of 18. Wait, what? Yeah, but it doesn't say in a row. Twitch, you're bugging right now. You're actually bugging. I know. It could be that there's some gifted there too. Yeah. Oh, let me open the peekaboo thing here real quick. Yeah, I hear this. I'm like, what the fuck?
You watching this?
And I thought it was like someone out there originally. I was like, huh.
Peekaboo.
And he says peekaboo. I was like, you motherfucker.
You're not the only person that can fucking scare people. Just remember that.
That's fucking asshole. If you guys don't know, I go way back with Saab. He and I RP'd together in Family RP a long time ago. I met him at TwitchCon like 2017, like PAX East. Before like the whole explosion. I've known him for a very long time, so it's a shame that I don't get to hang out with him as much anymore. He's kind of on the heavy streaming schedule with that, and I haven't really encountered too much of his characters. Now that I left PD and he's kind of no longer in PD, but I have the utmost respect for Saab. Payback for making me. Yeah, I know. I deserve it. Maybe this is the karma. Is the sitting in purgatory is the karma, you know? Anyway, yeah. So I get a third of his characters. Why? Because I sent Bass here. I sent Axel there. Are you telling me that tragedy comes in threes, and I need to send another one of his characters to purgatory? Time to send Al Saab. He's never giving up Al Saab, please. Al Saab was like his OG character. I knew Al Saab way long ago. Yes, I said the thing, tragedy comes in threes. Come on now. You don't think I'm going to take a moment to actually recognize the pun in that? Please. So here's what I'll say about this. For TJ being here, this is tearing him apart. In a way. This is tearing the character apart. Because he knows that they're out there. Norman and Pestilence at this point. They are basically are unchecked, and there's not a way to check him or them at this point. He's done what he can, and he is bound by that, and there's not much you can do. There isn't anything that is really allowing him to walk out that door. He's technically escaped once with the birds. The first time, that was the lore behind these and how he came out. That's how the book was written. By the way, I definitely was not looking up how to pronounce Latin 2 minutes before it was happening. The room tearing you apart, yeah. Yeah, so it definitely is hurting who he is. Not being able to try to stop people from making stupid decisions. Because, you know, obviously TJ had a deal, but it was in response to somebody else making one and him canceling theirs out. It wasn't one of those where I'm willfully giving up or doing. It is, I guess if there's going to be one, he'll take it to nullify the other one, which was a dumbass deal. Says TJ was able to send him back to Purgatory for Pestilence side. TJ doesn't know who actually sent him back. So, no. He doesn't even know that Pestilence would be the one to send him back. It doesn't equate yet in his mind, and he shouldn't even have the thought that Pestilence was able to do so. And after Edgar was sent back, there was death roaming the halls type of shit. So TJ has no reason to think that it was Pestilence and that it was Norman, because Norman keeps alluding to his allowance and how it's running short and everything else. So it had never made sense to TJ why Pestilence would be the one to do that. And the fact, in the way that it happened, like I said, it was kind of like a Thanos snap. Like, I was literally mid-conversation with the three people, well, three of us, Alice, Pestilence, and TJ, and immediately I just show up here. I was like, oh. How did Norman? And you don't see Norman either, right? I'm like, huh. Time run up? Like, can I insert more quarters? Can I go back to the conversation? Okay, where's the restart button? Where's the restart button? Let me hit it. Huh. Okay. And then the next thing you see is Hope, which is letting him out. You're like, huh. Why is Hope here and letting him out? Did Hope bring him here? I was like, is this like a protection thing? Is it a you've been bad thing? Is it... what is it? And so it was never clear to him why he's back here yet. So hopefully that comes out in whenever they decide to come over and talk here. But yeah, he's still very confused as to the what and the whys. Like, he doesn't think that Hope would be like, yeah, I'm going to send you back to Purgatory, but it was definitely a possible thought. Like, it would make more sense if Noxie was the one there chilling. Because last time Norman took him out and said, go back to where you belong, which was the living, right? So it's like this whirlwind of what's really happening here. And he doesn't know. TJ's connections are exposed without him. You know, fight to get him back again. So let me talk about the connections thing. I do feel a little bad for Ed and Zed. When I made the connections, it was because I did have the intent at the time to challenge Norman on TJ, and I wanted to prove how quickly those could be gotten rid of. How the consequence to that, he was willing to accept it regardless of the fact. As time went on and I kind of saw Norman around less, I was like, well, okay. Probably a bad move to do it first. Probably could have kept it longer and had more RP to it, but it was to prove the fact that, yeah, he's willing to go the route and to forget people very quickly. Because that was what he was going to do. And like I said, I've taken more of a observer role for a lot of this instead. And retooled how I kind of think about with this and just kind of letting things happen instead of trying to force something to happen. And so it has been a mindset change a little bit. Unfortunately, Ed, the character, did suffer from it a little bit as well. So, yeah, the connection thing was set up in a way that was more so it was going to be more immediate. And it was a reason to cut them. So, Auntie Andy said no. Yeah, Auntie Andy also said, hey, I'm going to be back on Monday. Promise? You don't do anything till then? TJ said, promise. Auntie Andy has never seen TJ again. Sag. He didn't do anything. Every time that she has asked him to not spread anything or to keep it to himself, he has obliged. He has not made any decisions. He wanted to talk to Auntie Andy first. And that might be gone. Everybody saying about myself reading glasses? Yo, true. My mind, as more I like sit and look at the fog stuff, like the more my mind actually inverses the black and the white and starts playing tricks on my mind, the more that I sit here and look at this. Truthfully. And happy birthday. So, anyway, oh, you want to know the Pandora thoughts as to what this was? And I posted this in Discord the other day. And I'm not saying like my character is a re-embodiment of this shit, by the way. Like, please, that's not what I'm trying to say. I mean, though, technically, could you somewhat claim that? I mean, no. I mean, we're kind of RPing a supernatural arc. Maybe this thing is true, but I found it very fitting, and I was not actually even intending this. I asked ChatGPT this. I was like, all right, so based upon the things that have happened, what does this context actually what character traits would be most closely related in mythology, right? So it came up with Prometheus, which is stupidly ironic, considering Prometheus is the whole thing behind Pandora and the box being referenced with Isaac, and the box and the ring being also referenced, and how Prometheus is stealing from the gods to give to humanity. And literally what I have been doing on TJ to take away from the gods in order to empower mankind in defying the four horsemen, and how that fits the entirety of the fucking narrative. But I had zero background before reading that, and it apparently fits Prometheus to a fucking T. And guess what? Pandora's box is literally referenced in this entire fucking arc. And I said it to Z the other day too. I was like, hey, maybe Archangel Michael and his parallels too. And he goes, yo, what if we were just role playing? What if the gods were just role playing in the Bible and everything just got written down later? Maybe they're just actually RPing in a server and a book came out of it and those were the characters type of thing. Not to try to like discredit. I don't want to be like, hey, here's beliefs and try to force beliefs, but you know, just like coincidence of things of like, yo, this has happened before and here's these characters. What if these characters were just acting a story and it was written down? So the ironic part to things, you know? But don't tell me the parallels aren't there. So here, I was laughing my ass off when I read that description. I was like, shut the fuck up. You can't make that shit up. Like, I was doing my own research and I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So here we go. And that's what spat out. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. There. You know what? Fuck it. Oh, how ironic is the fact that it's also a black fucking bird. Hello? How ironic that he's also in fucking chains. Okay, bro. How ironic is he holding a firebomb? The thing that 2J literally sold fucking bombs for when he was... Bro, okay. So the myth of Prometheus and fire makes us contemplate a serious question. If Prometheus hadn't stolen the fire from Zeus, what the mankind would have done. But the mischievous Titan in Greek mythology stole it, and while he was celebrated by the mortals, he was cruelly punished by the god of all gods. Considering Prometheus' deed as one of the biggest crimes ever, although it was not the first time Prometheus tricked Zeus, the mighty god had Prometheus chained to a rock where the eagle was to eat his eternally replenished liver every day. Chained. Not an eagle, but black eagle. Okay. Huh. Parallels. Interesting. Prometheus was one of the Titans who at some point were sent to Tartarus by the enraged Zeus, who is this too small for y'all? Here. I zoom in. How about that? Yeah, no, I know. Oppenheimer is such a mindfuck. I actually really like the Oppenheimer. If you haven't seen Oppenheimer, I highly recommend you go watch that. It's like you create the power, but who do you give the power to? And after we've created this power, who should hold this power? Right? It's an interesting question to ponder. It really is. So Prometheus was one of the Titans at some point were sent to Tartarus, enraged by Zeus, who didn't accept the Titans fighting against him in the famous Battle of the Titans. Titanomachy? Maki? I don't know how to pronounce that. Wait. One of the realms of afterlife in Greek mythology? Seriously? Again? Bro. Is that actually a thing? I don't know Greek mythology. Shut the fuck up. Stop. Bro, why? Why are there so many fucking parallels to this right now? It's actually kind of crazy. It's actually kind of unnervingly creepy. Okay. So, however, Prometheus was not directly involved in the war, so Zeus saved him and gave him a mission to form a man from water and earth. Prometheus accomplished the task, but while working on his creation, he grew fond of men. He did not care much ever about the gods and their hierarchy, however treated by them. He was more comfortable being around the immortals. In any case, Zeus's idea was not to have men with any unusual power, but Prometheus was thinking the other way and decided to steal one of the powers Zeus was particularly sensitive about. Fire. Wait. Hold up. Hold up. Hold on. Hold up. There we go. Stealing fire? Pause. Hmm. Thinking about stealing fire was easy, but it finally proved a bit more complicated. Prometheus, known for his wit and his intelligence, had an immediate plan to trick the goddess, throwing them a golden pear into the courtyard with a message for the most beautiful goddess of all. So many parallels because humans have told so many stories now that it's very hard to tell new stories at this point. It's much easier to reinterpret even when you think you're being original. It's possible to be drawing on something that you drew on something that influenced you. Not wrong. But I will say, this is my first time reading this. Yeah, interesting. It worked as he planned. The goddess started... Yo, does this mean I have to throw a golden pear in front of Norman right now and be like, yo, stealing? I'm not calling him a goddess, though. All right? That's not happening. And I swear to God, Z, if you come up and hand me a fucking golden apple, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. It worked as he planned. The goddess started a fight over the fruit while gods were completely enjoying the scene. All of them were distracted. So he got all the gods to basically fight over who was the most beautiful of them all. And whoever gets it, gets it. Is that what happened? All of them were distracted, and Prometheus didn't have a hard time stealing the fire from, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Hephaestus? I don't know. I'm gonna call it H. My man H. From H's workshop, you know? Or El Jefe. You know what? El Jefe's workshop, alright? Hephaestus? Hephaestus. Alright. From Hephaestus's workshop, El Jefe was, among other, the Greek god of fire. Prometheus happily left the god's playground and took the fire with him, either in a hollowed pumpkin or a hallowed reed, depending on the interpretation, and brought it to Earth and gave it to humans. How Zeus was bad. After so many times being defied by Prometheus, Zeus decided that was enough. Nevertheless, El Jefe chained himself to chain Prometheus on Mount Caucasus, where the eagle would eat his liver forever. Oh God. Don't get any ideas, Norman, please. Don't get any ideas, Norman. But time passed, and Zeus offered at one occasion to free Prometheus in exchange for revelation of the prophecy that predicted the dethroning of Zeus. Also, pestilence, please don't offer for revolting amongst degraders. Thank you. Prometheus refused. Oh, speaking of which, who fucking follows that exact second, fucker? Bruh. I'm not one to say bruh, but that was a very uh-huh. 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 But much later, Zeus' son Hercules, on his journey to fulfill the 12 labors, passed by the Mount Caucasus, saw Prometheus, and decided to kill the eagle and free the chained Titan. Zeus was very angry initially, but eventually agreed to grant Prometheus his freedom. Wait. Zeus was pissed? Did he order? Did he order the actual... Nightbot just owned you, by the way, Connor. Is what he typed that, you know? So what you're saying is that Pestilence is now going to set TJ free. I'm just saying. Got it. Well, some sort of freedom, since Zeus wanted Prometheus to carry a reminder of his punishment forever. He ordered Prometheus to take... Why is it a fucking ring? Seriously? I'm done. I'm done. Fucking done. Oh shit, you weren't even seeing this. So, yeah, this is the part. Okay. But time passed, Zeus offered to free Prometheus in exchange for revelation of the prophecy that predicted the dethroning of Zeus. Prometheus refused, but much later, Zeus' son Hercules, on his journey to fulfill the 12 labors, passed by the Mount Caucasus, saw Prometheus instead to kill the eagle and free the chained Titan. So, who's Hercules in this? I need Hercules to come in here and be like, yo, what's up? Zeus was very angrily, but eventually agreed to grant Prometheus his freedom. Well, sort of freedom, because Zeus wanted Prometheus to carry a reminder of his punishment forever. He ordered Prometheus to make a steel ring from the chains he was in, and wear that ring from there on. Since then, mankind started creating rings in order to celebrate Prometheus and commemorate his help. Did I just, like, spoiler my own story at this point? Alright, let's go to the altar and go forge my own ring. How about that? Fuck it. Let's go. We're going? We're forging a ring. We're forging a ring. We are going to forge a fucking ring! If I can find my way there. It's way too fucking foggy. I don't know where it's at! I need a map! Where's the map of Mount Doom? We're sick too, by the way. We're going! We're going! We're going! Hold on! Hold on! Here we go!
3 rings crowns for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie.
Yeah, bro.
TJ?
Alice? Wo- Alice! Alice.
I'm not dead. I don't know how strong my connection is here. I ate 3 eyes, I think. It's hard to explain.
You can't be here. Alice! What was your final wish? Hmm? Hmm? Tell me this is a sick fucking game. Tell me.
Bye.